First of all, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I greet to the viewers of this video presentation. In this semester, as final year student, I require to carry out the research as a fulfillment to complete my degree. So in this video, I will present and talk about my research on comparative study on determinant of saving deposits between conventional and Islamic bank in Malaysia. Before that, my name is Muhammad Arif Ridzuan bin Mokhtar, and my supervisor for this research is Dr. Asmah binti Muhammad Jaafar. Next, I will proceed with the table of contents from this slide's presentation. First one is introduction. We'll explain about background of study, problem statement, research objective, and scope of study. Second, for literature review. The story is the previous study that related with my research. Then, methodology part, we show the method that I used to carry out this research. And then proceed to result analysis and discussion, where I include all the result and the analysis. After that, I will conclude my research in conclusion part and also recommendation if to carry out this research in future. Lastly, I put some reference that I used to carry out for this research. So for introduction part, content, background of study, problem statement, research objective, and scope of studies. So for the background of study, we'll talk about a little bit about study first. The largest source of fund for banks is money deposit that account holder use for transaction involving transfer of money to another party for safekeeping. These two banks have different major activities occurs between them, although each providing saving and lending to the customer. Hypothesis indicates that increased uncertainty will increase investment. The basic theory of permanent revenue postulates that higher growth decreases current saving due to higher projected future revenues. The interest rate play a key role in banking system because it determines the benefit of the difference between the interest rate on loans and interest rate on deposit. And monetary policy can be seen to affect across a multitude of platforms on the overall economy. Next, for problem statement, as I carry out this research, I found that evidence on Islamic deposit determinant is very limited. And I also want to highlight the issue why saving deposit might be different between conventional and Islamic banks. But the most important that I want to find out how macroeconomic determinants such as GDP, gross domestic product, inflation rate, interest rate, and money supply have an impact on conventional and Islamic bank saving of deposits. First, for the research objective part, for objectives is to examine the impact of GDP, inflation rate, interest rate, and money supply on saving deposit of conventional and Islamic bank in Malaysia. Second is to determine the direction of relationship between saving deposit and its macroeconomics, whether have positive or negatively impact on total saving deposit. And last one is to compare the difference in factor that affecting saving deposit of conventional and Islamic banks. And then we will proceed to literature review part. So for the literature review, this is some of the previous study that carried out for each variable. First, we will see for gross domestic product (GDP). Fisnik Molina 2019 showed that GDP is favorable influence in the success of deposit. Kamal Eddin Hassan Ibrahim Eldor 2019 found the impact imparted by real per capita GDP on total deposit appear to be positive. So inflation rate, Mobin 2014 found the negative effect of inflation on deposit saving of Islamic banks. Shabazz 2017 found a favorable relationship between inflation and saving deposit of conventional bank, but reverse for Islamic bank. Interest rate, Shabazz 2017 noticed that any improvement in the conventional bank interest rate and Islamic bank profit rate has no significant impact on Islamic bank customer. Sativati 2019 noted that the interest rate had little impact on the deposit in Islamic banking. For the money supply, Shazia Zahid 2019 showed that money supply plays a positive and significant role in Pakistan Islamic banking growth. He 2017 study in China's bank deposit reveals significant influence of money supply, hence should be considered by policymakers as one of the tools to increase saving deposits. And then for the third part is methodology part. First, data analysis. Data that I use is secondary data. I took quarterly data from first quarter 2009 to fourth quarter 2019. And the dependent variable for my research is total saving deposit of both bank, conventional and Islamic banks. For independent variables, I use gross domestic product (GDP), inflation rate, interest rate, and money supply. And here is my method that auto-regressive distribute lag ALDL. Here I put ALDL model for both bank, conventional bank, and ALDL model for Islamic bank. The purpose with ALDL is to test both short-term and long-term effect of the independent variable on the dependent variable. ALDL is one that can applicable to both stationary and stationary regressor, which is it caters the different level of the left stationarity through lag. It is suitable and robust for a small such data sample to estimate and test the hypothesis on the long-run coefficient. Next, we will proceed to the chapter 4, result analysis and discussion. Next, we will proceed to the unit root test. Unit root test is statistical test to determine the stationarity of each variable by using augmented decoupler ADF test. However, ADF test is to use to identify the order of integration for each variable. As you can see at the level form, only GDP and inflation rate are stationary at the level form. At the first difference, total saving deposit of conventional bank, interest rate, financing rate, and money supply is stationary at first difference. For the second difference, total saving deposit of Islamic bank is stationary. Next, we will see for model selection criteria. This model is for total saving deposit for conventional bank. We use AKK information criteria. AIC is a mathematical method for evaluating how well a model fits the data it was generated from. It also indicates better fits for several models. From the graph, the model ALDL for 4003 is much better than all others as it has the lowest AIC value at -5.78489 and the adjusted square is 0.9897, means the model contains 98.97% of total explanation that can be found in the full set of models. Next, this is the model for total saving deposit of Islamic bank. From the graph, the model ALDL 40000 is much better than all others as it has the lowest AIC value at -5.622043 and the adjusted square is 0.9975, means the model contains 99.75% of total explanation that can be found in the full set of models. Next, we will see ALDL model for conventional bank in the short run estimates. In the short run, for first lag period, CBD has positively significant influence, but for third lag period, CBD has negatively significant influence on the dependent variable, but for the second and fourth lag period, it's not significant. For GDP, second and fourth period has negatively significant, but only third period has positively significant impact on total saving deposit of conventional banks. At the level and first period lag are not significant. Inflation rate and interest rate at level does not have significant impacts on dependent variable in the short run. On the other hand, M3 money supply at level and third lag period has positively significant impact on total saving deposit of conventional bank, but at first and second lag period does not have significant impact. The adjusted squared value is 0.989738, means 98.97% of the variation is due to independent variables. Furthermore, the value of probability F statistic is 0.0000, less than 0.05, which means the combined effect is significant and considerable to prove the model is fit. Here is the bound test. The calculated F statistic value is 3.190625, which is below the upper and lower bound test. The critical value of the upper bound is 5.06 at 1% significance level. This means that the null hypothesis of no co-integrating relationship cannot be rejected, which implies that total saving deposit of conventional bank is not co-integrated with GDP, inflation rate, interest rate, and money supply as well. So there is no exist a long-run relationship between these variables. And for the short-run estimate for ALDL model for Islamic banks, we can see that at the fourth period of total saving deposit, Islamic bank has positively significance on itself, but for the first, second, and third leg does not significant. GDP, inflation rate, and financing rate does not significant to the dependent variable, and for the money supply is positively significant for the total saving deposit of Islamic banks. The adjusted R-square value is 0.997533, means that 99.75 of the variation is due to independent variables. Furthermore, the value of probability F statistic is 0 less than 0.05, which means the combined effect is significant and considerable to prove the model is fit. For the bound test, the calculated F statistic value is 13.19896, which is above the upper and lower bound test. The critical value of the upper bound is 5.06 at 1% significance level. This means that the null hypothesis for no co-integrating relationship can be rejected, which implies that total saving deposit of Islamic bank is co-integrated with GDP, inflation rate, interest rate, and M3, so there exists a long-run relationship between variables. So here is the table for long-run estimate and error correction model. As we can see, the co-integration equation is negative with the coefficient estimate of 0.580434. This implies that the speed of adjustment towards long-run equilibrium is 58.04%, or system corrects its previous period disequilibrium at a speed of 58.04% within one period of time. The t statistic is negative 8.631933, and the coefficient is significant. At the long run, we can see for money supplies has a positive and significant impact on total saving deposit of Islamic bank in the long run. So here for the chapter 5, we see, will explain, we will conclude and recommend. To conclude my research, all three objectives of these studies are achieved through ALDL method. For saving deposit of conventional bank, all explanatory variables, which is GDP, inflation rate, interest rate, and money supply, appear to be significant in short run but not significant in long run, as we can see earlier. For saving deposit of Islamic bank, all explanatory variables, which is GDP, inflation rate, financing rate, and money supply, appear to be significant in the short run and also in the long run. For the part recommendation for future study, I recommend to use primary data such as customer behavior and risk perception in longer time to get the result more accurate. Besides that, the study on the total saving deposit should be extended further by using other different methodology to understand the causal relationship between the dependent and independent variables. And here are some of my references that I used to do this slide and my research. I think that's all from me. Thank you.